Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of He Said, He Said, He Said, a look at the world from a seasoned Black man's perspective. I'm your host, Alvin King, and welcome to our Friday, October the 18th live episode, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys have had a great week. The weather has just been a little tricky, and I've seen some of you out there with shorts on. I'm sure you're home sneezing and coughing right now. But this weekend, it's going to be short weather, but you probably won't be out there because you're sick from being out there this week with no coat on. Again, welcome to our Friday show. We're glad that you all are here for our Let's Get Newsy episode. There's a lot going on, and Bobby and I cannot wait to share a lot of what's going on with you. Well, it is 18 days left, and the candidates are all going in on winning over those undecided voters in swing states who could decide the election. Vice President Kamala Harris spent yesterday stomping in Wisconsin. This is going to be a tight race, she said, until the very end. Wisconsin is one of the blue wall states, along with Michigan, Pennsylvania, that Harris is zeroing in on in her final days. Her message is clear to all the voters. A lot is on the line this election, and she's reminding us that Donald Trump is increasingly unstable. On the other hand, former President Donald Trump shot back at Harris while speaking at an annual dinner for Catholic charities in New York. I think it was on yesterday. He said that she was very disrespectful because both candidates traditionally attend this particular event. But Harris sent in a message, and he said, which is deeply disrespectful to the event, and in particular to our great Catholic community. I'm going to talk about that event when Bobby comes on, but I'm telling you all, please vote. Please vote. I did it. You see that? I did it. And you need to as well, because it is critical that we all get out there and vote, preferably blue, but get out there and cast your vote, ladies and gentlemen. This week, it is completely pandemonium here in Washington, D.C. 2 giant pandas from China arrived here on Tuesday, and they were transferred to their new home at the Smithsonian National Zoo and Conservative Biology Institute. We love pandas here. 1 male and 1 female are named, I want to get this, Bao Li and King Bo, I think, respectively. This is the first time that the U.S. Capitol has welcomed a new set of ferry diplomats from Beijing in 24 years. The FedEx cargo plane, dubbed the Panda Express, carried the 3-year-olds and landed in Washington Dulles Airport at 9:53 again this week. Unfortunately, though, for many of you who like pandas, you won't be able to see them until January 2025 because they're getting their nails done and they're getting their hair fluffed, and they're just trying to get, used to the cushioned bed that they have at the zoo so that, they'll be ready to see you after the new year, ladies and gentlemen. As we've been telling you all month, it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and early detection is really key to saving your life. So we have a website that we would like for you to go to learn more about breast cancer, and we will definitely put that up. And one more thing is happening this month. It is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and that's why I'm wearing purple for domestic violence. Victim advocates, allied professionals, survivors of abuse, their loved ones, and the surrounding community all come together to mourn the lives lost to domestic violence and celebrate the progress that has been made to end this epidemic. And also, most importantly, to connect with others working to create that change. Domestic violence is important to me because for 12 years of my life, I lived in a home that was riddled with domestic violence, and I didn't find out until I was an adult the impact that living through domestic violence, my mother was abused by my father, how much of an impact that had on me. But believe me, you can get help. Help is out there. In the 60s, when my mother was going through this, none of what we have now was available to her. And most people in that era, women or anyone abused, they just lived with it. But you don't have to. So we have put up a website also, a link for you to get more information from the Department of Health and Human Services about ending domestic violence, ladies and gentlemen. It is very, very critical that you do. You don't have to do this by yourself. There is help out there for you. All right. Well, Bobby and I have an action-packed show for you. We're about to get real newsy on you guys. So if you are ready, let's get on with the chat. Wait a minute. What school is that? What is that?
HU, you know what school it is.
It is time at home. Bobby, red looks good on you.
Thank you so much. Well, as a Kappa, I take that to heart. Thank you very much.
You know, because I thought Howard's colors were blue. Are they blue or?
It's kind of like, you know, it's interesting. You should ask that. It's a little bit of controversial. It's blue and white primarily. Sometimes red gets mixed in, and sometimes gold as well, like gold trim. So it's a red, white, and blue and gold kind of like theme.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
you know,
and so I just did the red, white, and blue thing tonight. So
I'm checking you out. I also just briefly want to say, you know, I've been getting emails and text messages and messages from people about last week's show about the dating dialogue.
Oh my God, I did too. People were like, "What?"
You know, I'm just so happy and grateful that has occurred, and so it's really making us, ladies and gentlemen, want to do something like that again. So more is coming. Bobby has a lot of a lot of ideas. He does have attitudes, but a lot of ideas that he's thrown my way because of that episode. But really,
look at that. Look who just chimed in with cute. Hey, Michelle.
Hey, Michelle. Welcome to the show. Welcome, Monica. Good to see you. Rodney E. How you doing, my brother in Philadelphia? Holding it down. Thank you all for being here tonight for our Let's Get Newsy. So Bobby, what's been going on in the chat for you? What's
Let me tell you. Well, I would be remiss if I weren't to start with this, all of this right now. If you know anything about HBCUs, you know that this is a very, very big weekend here in Washington, D.C. We are celebrating Howard University's 100th homecoming. And so there is lots going on. This is the Yard of Fame is the theme this year. And it celebrates the millions who have walked the campus, or the yard as we refer to it, that main area of campus we refer to as the yard, and contributed to the university's reputation since its founding in 1867, having been recently recognized by Forbes as the #1 HBCU in the nation. So we are extremely geeked, psyched, pumped, all those things all over DC. As Alvin was saying, he's probably not even going to go down Georgia Avenue, Washington this weekend, and it's a wise move on his part, because the city is a flood of Howard Bison who have come back from across the country for this very, very big celebration. In fact, the moment the show is over tonight, Bobby is changing into something different and joining some friends downtown at the Waldorf Astoria for an alumni reception this evening. And homecomings, you know, this is the season of HBCU homecoming. So as much as I'm a Howard grad and I'm pumped about it being Howard's graduation, the reality of it is HBCUs across the country will be gathering. Black alumni will be traveling across the country. Spell House, for instance, you know, the Spelman Morehouse homecoming celebration. Cheney, Delaware State, Florida A&M, Tennessee State. All of these historically black colleges and universities will really be celebrating the legacy of their graduates and just celebrating, you know, accomplishment and achievement. And I would be remiss, and I know I got to wrap this up, but given a certain person who's running to be the president of the United States of America, we are on it this year. We are, and I wouldn't put it past a little surprise visit this weekend.
I wouldn't put it past it either. I wouldn't, and I'm glad you made mention of that. I'm like listening to you going, he's not going to tell them if they don't know already that Vice President Harris is a Howard grad. Hold on, I was like, I know he's going to say something. Hey, right. But we got some more folks that have joined us. Glenn Baker has joined us. How you doing, Glenn? Thank you for being here tonight. Kendall has joined us. Kendall, great to see you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Yeah. I'm so glad. Well, congratulations, Bobby, because I know you love your alma mater. And again, as I said when we were backstage, you're wearing it well.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Thank you. There is other news that we want to get to this evening. As Alvin said, it's our Let's Get Newsy. So we got a lot of stuff we want to cover. Last week, you did mention the fact that this month is, and even tonight as well. I'm sorry, you mentioned again that it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I found a story that I thought was really interesting because it was a story that touched our hearts a couple of years back in 2016. The name Wanda Dench might not ring a bell for you, but I think once you hear about her, you will. She was the woman who thought she was texting her 24-year-old grandson to invite him to have Thanksgiving dinner with her, when in actuality, she was texting a 17-year-old who's somehow the numbers got mixed up and so forth. And once they realized that their mistake was making, the 17-year-old said, well, am I still invited to your house for Thanksgiving? And she said, yes. So that whole situation went viral. They have stayed in touch. He has had Thanksgiving pretty much with her every year since then. And this year, she announced that she has been diagnosed with breast cancer. And she's doing it to raise awareness to people going through the tests as necessary. In her case, though, her diagnosis came, it says earlier this year, she came down with bronchitis and had a CT scan and to check out her lungs. And that is when they discovered that she had cancer. And so she wants to raise awareness to encourage people to get tested as often as possible. Right now, she has a positive prognosis, and she just wanted to let people know that, and that he is her adopted grandson is right there by her side throughout this process.
Bobby, that story was beautiful. And ironically, I knew I remember years ago, or maybe it could have been 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I saw this story in the news, and I just thought it was good then. And being that Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays,
yes,
I just kind of paid attention to it. So here we are years later, and we're connected by the seams sometimes.
Yeah,
you bring that story up. That was beautiful.
Well, wow. Thank you. I just thought, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but also just the notion where, we sometimes feel very divided as a nation. Here was an accident that happened where their paths could have completely ended at that time. But he asked the question, and she offered that opportunity to join, and they have become family. And because what you and I both know well, Alvin, that we love and hold, cherish dearly our family by blood, but we also know that our family is not just those who share a common bloodline.
Not at all. Not at all. Great message, Bobby. Great message. Thank you.
Yep.
Well, we're going to take you to New York for a few minutes because this week, Victoria's Secret came back, ladies and gentlemen. The Victoria's Secret fashion show came back. And I mean, they pulled out all the stops with, diversity. And I mean, their clothes were Victoria's Secret, but they pulled out the entertainment. They pulled out everything. They just had it. So we're going to go through some of the images from the show and give you our critique on what we thought the show was about. So I want to start right here with singer Tyla, who did one of the, Make Me Sweat earlier this year or last year. And we're still craving. She walked the runway and wore their clothes.
She wore it and she was hot on that show. Because we watched it the same night, the night that it aired.
We did.
She was a perfect choice. Her song worked. She looked great. I was like, come on, Tyla. Yes.
She was on point. And then it was the Gigi Hadid, which a lot of people, I like Gigi Hadid, but I've seen a lot of the, supermodels, if you will. Yes. She is a supermodel, but Gigi Hadid did what she had to do. They gave her props, but I like her, but I'm just not a big fan of Gigi Hadid on the runway compared to some other girls. But that's my critique on her. Yeah,
I like the Hadid sisters. I do, and I think Gigi Hadid. They chose her. She's very popular. She has a huge following. She is, I think, a very, very good model. And let's not forget the fact that she is currently dating Bradley Cooper, the actor Bradley Cooper. So they are kind of like this it couple right now. And she opened the show. And as Alvin said, I think she did a really great job. She had these wings. Her wings kind of extended when she actually came out and so forth. But if I'm to be honest with you, I echo your sentiment. It's not. There were models in that show,
correct,
who in my mind were more fabulous that night.
Correct.
Should have opened that show, but they went with someone who could do it and had a name. And so these other girls that I was seeing, because there were a lot of new girls that I saw this year that were just, I think, beautiful and stunningly beautiful. But Gigi Hadid was a solid opener.
Well, starting in my fashion career, one of the things that, you know, King and I Productions got a lot of credit for, we started using plus size models, and Ashley Graham is like at the top of the line for plus size models. And I just love to see a feminine plus size model on the runway who has the confidence and the charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent to do what she needs to do. Ashley brought it home, and I really appreciated Victoria's Secret's putting her into the show.
Yep. Yeah. No, I echo that. She looked fabulous, sexy. You know, we know that sexiness is not determined by one size by any stretch of the imagination, and she was proof positive of it right then. She pulled it. And then they brought back some of the, you know, more vintage models. The legendary Carla Bruni. She was one of the original supermodels that hit the runway, who looked really good. That's great. I thought she walked well. I gave her high marks also. Yep. But the two models that really pulled me in are the transgender high fashion models, Alex Kosani and Valentina Sapio. You know, it's interesting. I knew that there were transgender models, but I didn't know which one they were. Well, here they are. This is Alex right here. This is Alex. And Valentina is the next model that we have, who tore the runway, just blew it apart. And I didn't know who they were. Yeah. I didn't know who they were. So that they came through. And then not last but not least, there was Candace Swanepoel, who was also, you know, one of my favorites. And to Bobby's point, there were a lot of Black girls, African-American, African models in the show. And I tell you, none of them were photographed or captured in some of the print when I was pulling photos. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I was devastated by that. Because there were a lot of young women of color in that show. There's no reason you shouldn't have been able to find some photos. No. But if you can go to Prime and definitely check it out, because you can still see it. But the most prominent model in the show that everybody was waiting to see was Tyra Banks hitting the runway once again, at 50. At 50, and I'm gonna say she brought it. Okay, I'm waiting because I have some things to say. I'm gonna let you go ahead because we got 1 minute for this one, so I'm gonna let you go ahead. We got 1 minute for this thing, but what do you? I'm gonna let you go ahead and critique it because I'm gonna say to her that I was not overwhelmed with the choice of what they put her in, and I was not overwhelmed with I didn't find. I think she looked great overall, but I was not blown away by her hair or her makeup. Or her new nose. And I just think when you are at the level of Tyra Banks, like we should have been gasping. Right. And I just did not feel that. I didn't feel I was gasping at many of the models in their terms of their walking. I would look at some of these girls that were walking and I'm like, there are too many girls who could be in the Victoria's Secret fashion show. Everybody should be on point in terms of their walking and so forth. So there was some walking that I just thought was less than, but that's me. That was me. I like Tyra. But I have been, when she's made some personal appearances, like when she opened up her little ice cream pop up here and all that, I've looked at her makeup and her hair and I'm like, you are a supermodel. Like I got to agree with you. I went to her pop up and I was like, where's her makeup artist? Where I know it's ice cream, but stop playing. You're Tyra Banks. Right. Stop playing with me. And I don't mean to sound judgy, but expectations are there. She was not just a supermodel. She became a billionaire off of a show making supermodels, like the America's Top Model. Like, so no, she needs to come out on point every time.
Well, can you also add she had made billions of dollars on a show that told girls that you can't make it in the industry unless you're skinny? And Tyra? I'm just saying. But I agree with everything that you said. So, you know, she made a point. But there was also a couple of people that I want to point out that was at that show. Cher performed at 70 years old, and she looked absolutely amazing. Was she lip syncing?
You said what?
Was she lip syncing?
I think she was lip syncing, and I didn't like her hair. Let me just be honest. I didn't like that curly thing on the front of her hair, but I thought she was lip syncing. But
I thought that's how it looked all the time. Okay.
Great.
Okay. Oh, okay. Then I missed all that.
And I was like,
And of course, some very high profile people attended. La Roche, you know, the fashion architect, he was there that night during the show, and Cardi B and Angel Reese. I love me some Angel Reese right now.
Oh, that's Angel.
That's Angel.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's an NBA basketball player. People look at her. That's what the WNBA.
That's what it's become. Okay. Well, I also Arnold Falsetti is here. Arnold, how you doing? Alma has joined us. And,
hey, friends.
And Alma said we're giving Tyra shade. Don't do it. That's not shade. He said don't give shade. We plant trees.
So look, Alvin, you know we're gonna tell the truth. Like Alvin produces fashion shows.
Yeah.
Bobby loves fashion, former model back in the day. Yeah. Look, we're not taking it. No.
In your Nini voice, what would you say, Bobby?
I said what I said.
Ha 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 ha. All right, before we close the chat out, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta ask you guys a question because I'll give you the disclaimer after I tell you. Okay. But on a plane recently, Bobby.
Yes.
And I'm going to ask you, if you had a child that you took on a plane, we know taking children on a plane is not easy. It is not. You got to prepare for the unexpected. So if you had your child on a plane,
yes,
and a passenger who had another child got up and came to you and told you, can you tell your child to put their iPad away because it's making their child jealous? What would you say, or what would you do in that situation? Because this happened on a plane recently where an argument broke out because a woman got up and went to another passenger seat and told her that she wanted her child to put away their iPad because it was making her child jealous.
Nope.
So I'm gonna let you.
Well, this is what I will say to you. Aging has given me some strategies that I might not have applied when I was younger. But one of the strategies that I have come to appreciate and accept is that every call does not require a response. The level of ridiculousness of someone coming up to you when your child is minding their business on a device, which you probably gave that child to keep quiet and allow everybody to enjoy their flight.
Correct.
She's going to come up and go like, your child on that device is making my child jealous. So my child needs to put their device away, as opposed to you talking to your child about why you chose not to have or give them a device. My child has now got. So what Bobby Edwards in 2024 would likely do is look at her and turn away and continue going on. Because I'm not even going to entertain responding to such ridiculousness.
Bobby, I agree with you. And because I know you and what you do, you cleaned that statement up so well, my friend, because if we were sitting out to dinner, I know you would be saying something that was completely different, but I know you, Bobby. But I think
that you're happy. Get away from me.
Say what?
You're happy behind down.
No, if it was me and I was sitting in the chair, and anyone approached me with that type of nonsense, I would have first looked up to them and then reached up and pressed that button to have, one of the attendants to come right now. Okay, just come, because I'm not going to entertain you, because I don't have that capacity. But for the parent, and I'm not parent shaming here, but the problem is that most parents these days don't set boundaries for their children. And stuff that makes their children upset, instead of letting them know that this is real life and disappointments will happen.
And pick up your book and read.
And you're going to have to sit there with your arms folded because mommy and daddy didn't have enough money to buy you an iPad.
Get them a book.
But if you don't have that, sit there with your arms folded. Tell them we don't have enough money to do it. And in my world, if with my mother, when I grew up, she said, and if you cry, I'm gonna make you cry. If you cry and you embarrass me, I'm gonna fix it. So I would sit there. But a lot of these parents don't do that. You want to sit there and hold rather than tell your child you can't have, you want to sit there and hold a conversation.
And ask someone else to get rid of their child. So because it doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't make sense. So thank you, Bobby. And thank you all. Alma, I see you. Alma said, I know and I agree. Arnold Foss said, what have you been smoking, girl? Okay. Brandy says, hell yes. And that's right, Arnold. Our mothers would have said, I'll give you something to cry about.
Come on now.
Come on. So thank you all for letting me share that with you all. Look, it is time to get on with our top stories because we're going to roll right through it. So, oh man, I'm still having palpitations about somebody possibly coming up to me on a plane talking some smack.
And she would say, Siri, call TSA police plane. Exactly. Siri, we're waiting for her. Okay, I do have a good top story, a feel good top story for you. Mm-hmm. Many of you know that just a couple of weeks ago, former President Jimmy Carter reached his 100th birthday. And one of the things that his family publicized was that he prayed to live long enough to cast his vote for Kamala Harris. And I want you to know that today, by mail-in ballot, Jimmy Carter has lived long enough to cast his vote for Kamala Harris. It has been a prayer answered. And, as we said the last time when we celebrated former President Carter on his 100th birthday, he has been such a living testament to character, service, commitment. He just, I just have great, great respect for Jimmy Carter and the life that he has lived, most importantly, beyond his presidency, beyond being a president, when he could have simply aged and had Secret Service just follow him around. This is a man who was working with Habitat for Humanity, building homes for people, and just always lived a life of grace and love and compassion for others. So it is just really, really, really special that this man has lived long enough for his prayer to be answered. To his vote for Kamala Harris.
Amen. Amen. And Charles Reese has joined us, ladies and gentlemen. I got to give a shout out to Charles Reese. Charles has been on the show before. He is the closest thing that I will ever get to James Baldwin. And he is in the running to receive a Grammy this year. So, Charles, look, prayers up to you. Thank you for joining the show. Thank you for joining the show tonight. Thank you. And Around Health, thank you for joining us. It does sound like abuse on that plane, but it wouldn't be from me because I would call the stewardess. And Glenn Baker said, Jimmy Carter, held to the chief. Amen. Amen, ladies and gentlemen. Bobby, thank you for that. And Georgia, we all know that Georgia is like one of the most important states. They did it before. They changed the whole trajectory of the presidential election. Was it 2020 or 2016? It seems like was it 2020?
They flipped it blue.
They flipped it blue.
Georgia,
well, after they did, then the shenanigans from the Republicans began, and a Georgia judge has declared that 7 new election rules recently passed by the state election board that Donald Trump put together are illegal and unconstitutional and will be voided.
Voided.
The Fulton County Superior Court Judge Thomas Cox issued the order on Wednesday after holding a hearing on challenges to the rules. The rules that Cox invalidated include 3 that have received a lot of attention in Fulton County. Can you imagine that? One that required the number of ballots to be hand counted after the close of polls, and 2 that had to do with the certification of election results. Cox found that the rules are unsupported by Georgia's election code and are in fact contrary to the election code. He also wrote that the state election board did not have authority to pass them. And he ordered that the board to immediately remove the rules and to inform all state and local election officials that the rules are void and not to be followed. Can we have that picture of the people he told that 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 they can't do what they set out to do? This one right here. Is that one right here? Is that? Let me see. Hold on for 1 second, because it was they had this them.
He said Alvin said them. These are the ones. Now the best that I had seen this picture earlier when we were running through the pictures, but the sister down on the far end there. She totally has that. I told y'all this wasn't gonna work.
I told you it wasn't gonna work.
Told y'all.
But you all wanted to go through it and do it anyway. Okay. So come on, Georgia. We
like the other woman's like, oh my, like it didn't work.
Well, Georgia, voting, early voting has started in Georgia, and I'm telling you all, Georgia is coming out in numbers because a record number of early votes have been cast in Georgia as of Tuesday. The residents headed to the polls in a critical battleground state that is grappling with the fallout from Hurricane Helene and controversial election administrative changes that were just knocked out the window, that is a flurry of lawsuits. But more than 328,000 ballots were cast on Tuesday. And the Georgia's Secretary of State, Gabe Sterling, said that the 128,000 votes that were cast was higher than was the previous day record with 136,000 votes in 2020. How about that?
Record breaking.
Record breaking. Come on out, Georgia.
Okay, and lead.
Come on out.
Lead the country.
Come on, make Maurice Scott. Thank you for joining here.
Hey, Maurice.
And giving us a show to remember last week. Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here tonight.
Well, as we talk about the ongoing and continued election, we want to note that both of the candidates most recently have really been on the campaign trail doing some unexpected, if you will, interviews and some ways that have surprised some people. The Vice President, Kamala Harris, sat down with Fox News' Bret for what was at times kind of a contentious interview on the conservative news network. For Harris, the Fox News interview was an opportunity to broaden her appeal to Republicans and independents by appearing on a channel that is seen as generally critical of Democrats. And for Trump, he appeared at a town hall event on the Spanish language network Univision on the same day. And he took a series of tough questions from mostly undecided Latino voters, including some of his comments most recently about immigration. They both really kind of found themselves in some uncharted waters. Now, the Fox interview got a lot of play because Bret Baier apparently underestimated Kamala Harris in terms of some things that he was asking her and, thinking that she would have this packaged answer. And she was just not going to allow him to define her. And she was going to really come back at him with some factual information and comparison to the candidate she knew that he was supporting. And the former president, was really hammered with some questions about immigration, how immigrants are treated when they cross the border, et cetera. And so he kind of found himself in some hot water as well. And so my question to you is, given all of this, what are you thinking about their approach right now in terms of really kind of stepping outside and showing up in some non-traditional or unexpected venues to really kind of state their case?
Well, I have said since Vice President Harris got in this race on July 21st.
Yes.
Her team is doing what I think needs to be done. Mm-hmm. And I give them the utmost praise. And I think that they are, leading her in the right direction. Her stepping into uncharted territory, and particularly the one that she stepped in this week with Bret.
Yeah.
She showed them that I will treat you like, or annihilate you like I annihilated your former chief.
Exactly.
Okay? And so Bret, the comments that I've been seeing about her doing that, and I don't mean to, I'm going to answer your question, hopefully. The comments that I have been seeing was that, they're trying to paint her as this angry black woman when she got in front of a man.
Exactly.
And that's so easy. So stop that. She came there. She didn't need a fact checker.
Right.
She
exactly.
Said, that video you showing, that's a lie.
Right.
And it's not right. On the other hand, for those of you who haven't seen it, please look at that town hall meeting that Donald Trump put together with his friends and stuff. And when that undecided voter asked him that question, look at the faces on the people when Donald Trump said that January 6th was a peaceful, loving,
a day of love, a day of love,
a day of love, a day of love.
Yeah.
Look at how the camera pawned that whole room. And I know, I hope Saturday Night Live gets a hold of it, because I
think that day of love quote is really going to be hammered.
It was insane. But I love the approach. For me, it positions Vice President Harris to walk into uncharted territories and say, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing. And not that she needs to dispel this thing where he's calling her ignorant.
Right.
And
incompetent. Yes, he is.
Incompetent. Come on.
Yeah. And every time he appears, he provides information that she then turns into a commercial within 24 hours, because he just says stupid things like a day of love. Because I'm sure there's no question in my mind that they're going to have footage of what those police officers went through, the people who lost their lives and all of that. They're going to put that up, and he's just going to keep saying a day of love, a day of love, because it was anything but a day of love.
Anything but. And ladies and gentlemen, Bobby doesn't know this, but he took me to this place. While we're here and we're talking about uncharted territory, I want to talk about that Catholic event that happened the other night that Vice President Harris didn't show up to, and now there's a video that's going around with Saturday Night Live. Molly Shannon, is it Molly Shannon? Is that her name? Where she played the Catholic girl. Well, she was a
Sally O'Malley.
Sally O'Malley. I think some events need to be looked at and resurrected. These are the Catholic community who's hosting this event. Donald Trump is a 34-count felon.
Come with it.
Donald Trump was sleeping with a hooker when his wife was pregnant.
About to deliver their child.
Deliver their child. Donald Trump is one of the most disgraceful people on this earth. And yet, and as far as the 10 Commandments are concerned, he has violated, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm sitting here thinking, some events you need to just like say, whoa, I don't want to do it. This is one of those events, I don't care how historic it is. Donald Trump should not have been there. Vice President Harris did the right thing and did not show up, but she sent a joke, and the way she did it, it was flawless. I needed. How you feel about that? I just had to bring that up.
I agree with you, but it is another example of the normalization that people allow Donald Trump to exist around and exist in. The way he speaks to people, like he should be cut off. I kept saying for instance, the way he treated reporters in the White House press room. I kept saying, individually, you may not have the power that you think you have, but if all of you decided to be like, you know what, we are not coming back in there until you learn how to speak to people. Because if you speak to me that way today, he'll speak that way to you tomorrow. Like, don't think that you're safe just because he's not speaking to you. That like the times that he made fun of people with disabilities. Every time that he has a competitor, there's a new nickname for them. Like, he just is out of control. And I agree with you. I felt the same way about the Black journalists. I was like, why are you inviting Donald Trump to come and speak at a conference of Black journalists, given the way that he has treated journalists, period, but especially Black journalists?
Wow. Look, first of all, I'm Maurice, let me start with Arnold Falsetti. He said when he mentioned and bring you water, that was for the stewardess on the plane. Aurora said, I love her delivery, and you cannot argue with facts and her intelligence. And You know, Maurice said that, you know, that interview that he did was a hot mess. It really was. Raw Health said, that's how you do it, Alvin. Facts don't care about your feelings. One day I'm gonna meet you, Raw Health, and I'm gonna meet you. Arnold Falsetti said Cardinal Dolan of New York, who he has worked for, should be ashamed.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been there. No one that treats people the way.
No.
When you think about the fact that he allowed parents to be separated from their children,
right.
and their children to be put in cages on concrete floors.
Right.
What about that reflects any type of Christian value at all?
At all. At all.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been.
At all. All right. So, you know, in all of this, we cannot forget about Joe Biden at this time. And Joe Biden stepped into the news again this week. Yep. He has signed another round of forgiveness. It was announced on Thursday, bringing the total amount of student loan cancellation to more than $175 billion for nearly 5 million people since he took office.
Come on, Joe.
That's roughly equal to 11% of all outstanding federal loan debt. More than 1 million of these student loan borrowers received debt relief through the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, which promised loan forgiveness to public sector workers like teachers and nurses after they've made 10 years of qualifying payments. I wish I had become a teacher or a nurse. I really do at this time, but I'm so elated for those of you, again, who are walking the fence and said Joe Biden is not doing anything, you know,
right.
For us. No, yes, he is. He's still working.
Amen.
He's still working. So kudos to you, Joe Biden. Thank you. All right.
Amen.
Woo, okay, y'all. We've given y'all enough hot topics. We need to take y'all to some entertainment stuff right now.
To some fun old entertainment news.
some entertainment. Nope. Victoria's Secret was not the entertainment. It was not. That was merely our critique of fashion in our world. But I want to open this segment up. We haven't said a lot about it because every day there's something that's unfolding. But this week in the news, Sean Diddy Combs allegedly, they said,
oh Lord,
he used baby oil laced with a date rape drug, widely known as GHB. Mm-hmm. And some of us who've partied know what it is. Mm. I know you know what it is, to commit a heinous non-consensual acts of sexual violence and rape. And that has been alleged in a newly filed lawsuit. And according to the lawsuit, Combs, who's 54, would secretly use the drug in alcoholic beverages such as champagne or lemon drop cocktail drinks that were served at his parties. Party goers were forced to consume the alcoholic beverage containing the GHB prior to entering or while at Combs' party, the complaint further alleges. Now, I need to talk about something on this one, Bobby. Because because first of all, they're not naming the sources. So his team is saying, start naming the people who are supposedly making these allegations. That's one thing. Hear me out, y'all. I'm not saying that Puffy ain't. I'm saying that according to what I just said, he would have the drink ready at the door when you got there, and you have to drink it to go in. Who in your right? Not me. You're not going to tell me in order for me to get into your party, I have to drink something? What? That little piece right there for me, common sense and stupidity. I know they don't always know each other.
But you know, Alvin, this speaks to people's hunger, peer pressure. First of all, it doesn't stop alone when you're just a kid. Like adult peer pressure is very strong as well. And I speak from a perspective of someone who does not drink at 60 some odd years old, who does not drink. And I know that the times that people have tried to get me to drink, like just to be able to say that I'm drinking something. But and then when you add that that notoriety where people who really, really want to be at that white party or really, really want to be at that thing, that they are willing to just sacrifice that so that they can say they were in the place, do it. I'm with you. Like that would, for me, that would automatically be like, you know what? I want to be here, but I'm turning around because you are not going to make me drink something that I don't even know what's in it just to be able to get in. That's a red flag unto itself.
And I would have to bring on someone special to tell our viewers what GHB is, because you're not going to get it from me. Like I said, I know what it is, but I'm not going to be the voice of what GHB is. But it is a liquid and it looks like water. But when you take it, GHB, if you give the wrong ounce or whatever to someone whose body count can't take it, it will completely disrupt your whole day. So if people going to these parties are not going there for the first time and don't know what's happening.
Right.
I'm not saying that he should drug them. I'm saying you know what you're going into.
Most people do, I think. There are some people that, as Maurice says, I love a good white party, but never had the desire to be.
Come on, Maurice. Come on, Maurice. And to your point, Bobby, I think with what you were going to say, some people do, and that's why Denzel and Paulette, is that his wife? They turned around and got the hell up out of there.
Absolutely.
But that part of the story, and more shall be revealed. But the whole he made us drink.
That's kind of.
I'm not feeling that. All right, I'm sorry.
But are we ever going to move beyond the baby oil? Brother was using baby oil laced with stuff. I don't understand how people live that way. It's just beyond me. So,
Bob, you're gonna make me come out in a song, and I can't because they'll blank us. It won't let me finish my song. So
save it for me after the show. You can.
I'm gonna save it for you because I got a song in my heart about what you just said.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, continuing in our entertainment news, and now this one is a little controversial as well. As you all know, there is a highly anticipated film coming our way, Wicked, with Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande. Well, Cynthia Erivo is speaking out to the Photoshop and AI edited remake of a poster that the fans of Wicked have started to pass around. Now, this poster that you see here is the new poster that Universal Studios is presenting for the movie. Ariana Grande is whispering into the ear of Cynthia Erivo. The photoshopped poster that's going around now is very similar to the original poster. Now, in the original poster, they're not two actual people, they're caricatures.
Right.
It's an illustration of one witch whispering in the ear of the other. And the hat, the very dark hat, is down and covering the face so that you only see the lips. In this rendition of it, by Universal Studios, they wanted to give humanity to both characters. And so you can see the hat is lifted up, showing Cynthia Erivo's face. The AI generated one by the fans who are complaining about this one have lowered the hat so you don't see Cynthia Erivo's face. And she feels quite offended by it. In fact, she was saying that indeed the original poster is an illustration. I'm a real life human being who chose to look right down the barrel of the camera to you, the viewer, because without words, we communicate with our eyes. Our poster is an homage, not an imitation. To edit my face and hide my eyes is to erase me. And that is just deeply, deeply hurtful, are her own words. But I will also go on to say, because, I read some of the comments, as people seem to unleash a lot of hatred and racism when it comes to characters played by people of color, including, we've had the conversation about how people literally lost their mind when one of the
Bailey, the Little Mermaid,
not Barry, Halle Bailey played Ariel in the Little Mermaid. How people were losing their minds, literally saying there's no such thing as a black mermaid. and you want to look at them and go like, you do know that there's no such thing as a mermaid.
Mermaid.
Like,
Bingo.
like
Bam.
any
That
color
part.
in the world, because there's really no such thing as a mermaid.
That
But
part.
people really have gone. People went so far. One of the most offensive comments was asking Cynthia Erivo, is the word starts with the letter P. A former president says that you can grab that part, but is that part green? Because the character she plays is green. Like how disturbed must you be to go to that point and be upset that a poster shows this woman's face?
Hate is hate. Hate is hate, Bobby. And I hate is hate. This story disturbs me, but hate is hate. And that's all I can say. And thank you, Cynthia Erivo, because she's not going to be quiet about it. That's not who she is. She's not going to be quiet about it.
Nor should she.
And I'm sure that her paycheck will reflect that soon. Okay, because she's been through this before, even with Harriet.
Yes.
Because when she played Harriet, Americans was like, wait a minute, she's British. She shouldn't play a black slave speaking being American.
Yeah.
So, stop the noise.
She's talented and she's got tough skin. It opens in theaters on November 2nd. And the second part, because it is a 2-part film, will be released in 2025.
Yeah, but pull it together. Thank you. I can't. Well, on another note, okay, we have a new black superhero coming, ladies and gentlemen. DC Studios has confirmed that Aaron Pierre has landed the role of Jon Stewart in the upcoming Lantern series. On Wednesday, it was announced that Pierre had landed the role, which then confirmed by DC Studios CEO James Gunn. Gunn said that of the news, welcome to DC, Aaron Pierre. After a long and grueling series of auditions, I am absolutely sure we found an incredible Jon Stewart. Pierre, as some of you may know, starred in the Rebel Ridge on Netflix, which, had me sitting on the side of the TV going, who in the hell is this? Okay, because I had never seen him before. But he woke me up. And most DC fans may also remember him as Devim in the Krypton series. He will next be playing the little character in Disney Mufasa as the Lion King. Okay, come on through, Aaron. I'm Team Aaron. How about you? Okay.
Look.
Okay.
Yeah.
Long, take care. Thank you for joining us.
There was a special series about Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, and he played Malcolm X.
He's on it. He's on it. I'm happy. I'm happy.
As the old folks say, he is not hard on the eyes.
And the eyes. Okay.
And the eyes have it.
This is a family show.
Okay.
All right.
So a name that many of you are familiar with is coming out with a little bit of a documentary in her own words. It's called Megan Thee Stallion in Her Own Words. And you know what? I got to say, I got to give some credit to Megan for really kind of, she is packaging herself for longevity. I guess that's the way I really want to put it. She could very well stay in a very tight box of being. And when I look at Megan Thee Stallion, and I think you'll understand when I say what I'm about to say is, she reminds me of positioning herself in the footsteps of Queen Latifah, in the sense that Queen Latifah started out as a rapper, and she was a hard rapper in the very same way as Megan Thee Stallion. And Queen Latifah decided that in order to be to create a sense of longevity, she was also going to be known as Dana Owen. She sings, she has acted, she has and there are many rappers who have gone by the wayside. And Queen Latifah, not only has she flourished in terms of being seen as an artist, she's also come to a space of comfort and peace in her authenticity of who she is as a same gender loving woman on top of it. So I kind of see Megan kind of going in this direction where she's just not going to be known as a rapper. Now,
She's not one hit. She's not a one-hit wonder at all.
Not a one-hit wonder. And so this documentary of hers arrives on Prime Video on October 31st, and it follows the Houston native's journey on the road to stardom as she tenaciously navigates fame, grief, pressure, and success. So I really think it's going to be an interesting documentary to watch. And again, it hits Prime Video on October 31st. It promises behind-the-scene footage of the Grammy-winning artist, both at home and at work. So again, that's Megan Thee Stallion, in her own words, October 31st, Prime.
Well, everybody loves a survivor, and Megan didn't come from, you know, a wealthy family and all that. So to be Megan Thee Stallion and have packaged herself the way she did. So kudos to that. I cannot wait to see that. And to close out of our entertainment segment tonight, Bobby and I want to send a message to you guys. As you know, the dancer turned star turned DJ, Stephen Twitch Boss, he killed himself on December 13, 2022. And when he did, Stephen was married to Allison Holker Boss. She's his widow, and they have 3 children. And recently, Allison recently signed off on a request after she successfully proved she was married to Boss at the time of his death. And she was awarded, you know, I guess his, you know, she was awarded because it was very hard for her to get to that because he did not have a will when he died. And so today, before we leave, Bobby and I want to just mention to you guys the importance of creating a living will and doing estate planning. I am, you know, single. I don't have an immediate family anymore. I have my friends, but I know the importance of, I work too hard to not know how to leave what I need to leave behind. And I don't think it's morbid, but if you haven't, please look into creating a living will, because it just makes hell, and you would hate to get up in the morning after you pass away and everything that you have worked for is gone and nobody knows what to do with it. So it is something, and I confided and confessed to Alvin that while I have some things in order, I don't have everything in order. And it really is, I understand the importance of it, and I've committed myself to getting that taken care of in the next several months, to really, because it is really important. And I don't have a lot in comparison to celebrities or anything like that. But what I do know is that I want what I do have to go where I want it to go. And, you know, I'd like to have some say as to how my life will be honored in terms of leaving some real instructions about my funeral, like who I don't want sitting on the front row, what songs I do Okay. you got another song coming up, but but I got it. I got it. You know, I'm a producer and director, so the one thing I'm going to do is produce my funeral. Okay, so I want to make sure that is the way I want. I want to leave out here the way I want. And I do have people in line that will make sure that my wishes are honored. And the only way that has taken place is because I do have a living will and I have put things in order. So that can change, but you got to have something, ladies and gentlemen. So not preaching to you, but please take this message.
Did you see what Maurice just put on there?
What did Maurice put? Well, okay. Maurice said an advance directive also. Arnold said, don't forget about the 688 by Kerry Washington and Tyler Perry. That's a new movie that's coming up. That's true. And Maurice said, I better be on the front row or at least on the first 3. Up. And Michelle said, I better be right next to Maurice. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, look.
I'm not putting the 2 of you together at my funeral. Oh, no.
We have reached the end of our show, our Let's Get Newsy. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Thank you. You guys have been a very lively audience with us this evening. And we cannot leave without giving you our words of the week. Always remember that you have people in this world that love you, that care about you, that enjoy you, and that need you. that will always be the case. That will never change, no matter how much shit you feel about yourself. That is one thing you will always need to know and believe. And that was a quote by M. Rosh Lekan. All
Amen.
right.
Amen.
So thank you, Bobby, for that. Thank you all. And again, be kind to yourself and be kind to others. And we look forward to seeing you next week on a new episode of He Said.
He said.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
I was homecoming weekend. HU, you know.
Bobby, have fun. Be safe out there, okay?
I will.
No wooden nickels.
And if anybody tells me I have to drink something to get in, guess what, y'all? I ain't going in.
Just feel the glass. If it slides down your hand, you know you're at a puffy party. Okay. Oh. Good night.